I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and I just really needed that money for my tuition. My parents had stopped paying my tuition fees because they were so disappointed in my grades. Well, I'd show them. I'd sign up for this experiment and get my cash dollar. I messaged Joanna back and asked her where I could sign up for the experiment. She said she was driving over there now and would pick me up to go together. Wow, this was too good to be true, but I was desperate for the money. When we pulled up at the address, I was a bit confused by how creepy it looked. It didn't even look like a hospital or anything, it looked like a haunted house. We walked towards the entrance, and I seriously felt like we were about to be murdered. The door slid open, and inside everything was white, and it was so bright I pulled my shades down. There was no one around, so I said hello nervously to the empty room. Suddenly, a man in a lab coat appeared from behind a glass door. I told him we were here for the experiment, and he handed us a bunch of forms. He said he'd be back in 10 minutes, and I gulped, wondering if I was actually doing this. Then a woman came out and told me this was the best thing I'd ever do. Well, that was subtle. I filled out the form, which was super basic. All it really asked for was my bank account details, which was all that mattered. I needed that money badly, so I didn't care about anything else. Joanna went looking for the bathroom, and when the man in the lab coat appeared again, she wasn't back yet. I wanted to wait for her, but he said she'd already started, and grabbed her bag.
He said, "Come on then, are you doing this or not? We haven't got all day, you know?"
I reminded myself of the money, and followed him. Then I realized there was glass everywhere, but I couldn't see anything. I asked the man about it, and he said it was only glass on one side. The medical professionals inside could see me, but I couldn't see them. I wondered which room Joanna was in, and then I heard her voice. It sounded like she was panicking, and my whole gut was screaming no. He told me just to ignore the sounds, that the new lab technician had hurt her hand. But then he took me into a room filled with sofas, beanbags, and soft music. I instantly felt relaxed. He asked me to take a seat and offered me tea. I thought to myself, okay, this isn't so bad. So what is this experiment exactly? I asked, and sipped my tea. He laughed and said it was harmless, just an experiment to test my memory. He said they were conducting a study on how to store memories, so they could implant them back. Wow, I thought my grandma should have done this, and she actually did have Alzheimer's. Surely I was too young for this, I said to him, but he replied, "The younger, the better." Then he asked me to follow him again. The next room had lots of machines and wires, and it felt like a hospital. I took a seat and he started attaching wires to my head. He said he would ask me a series of questions, and the wires would record my brainwaves. Then the next time I came to the lab, they'd test my memory again to see if anything changed.
Hang on, next time? I told him I thought this was a one-off thing. He just smiled and said, "For $20,000, you need to come twice. Didn't you read the small print?" Then he hooked me up to the machine, and I won't lie, it hurt.
The first question he asked me was, "What was the saddest thing to ever happen to you?" I described in detail when my little sister was in a car crash and how she had died. Then he asked me about the happiest moment of my life.
I decided it was probably the day my boyfriend asked me to be his girlfriend last year.
The questions continued, all kinds of random questions. I must have fallen asleep because I woke up on the sofa in the nice room.
The man was standing there telling me I could go home now. And what about the money? I asked him.
Halting Mampai snide.
He said they'd deposit the first half into my account before the end of the week. Then he opened the door, and I took that as my signal to leave. The first thing I did when I got out of there was to try and call Joanna. But she wasn't answering, and her car wasn't there anymore.
I couldn't believe she'd just leave me there alone.
I took a headache tablet and hoped the pain would go away, but it kept getting worse.
Somehow, I made it home. I woke up to some missed calls from Joanna. When I got to college, I saw her in the courtyard chatting to a boy. I marched right up to her and asked why she'd just left me yesterday.
She said she hadn't been feeling well, so she rushed home.
I didn't want to talk to her. I felt like hitting her. But I wanted to know if she'd received the money yet. Then suddenly she was crying. She said she missed her sister so much. I felt bad for her. I couldn't imagine losing a sister.
But then I got a message from my mom asking if I could pick up flowers for Amy's grave.
And I had no idea who Amy was.
My head felt fuzzy, and all I could think about was the clock ticking.
That day, I passed out in class. Joanna was the one who brought me water.
We drove over there and everything looked the same as yesterday.
Oh my gosh! It was like a glass maze in there! And then I heard voices. Listen, man. I don't know what happened. The memories aren't on the database.
I told him I'd passed out and been having extreme headaches and said that I thought it was his fault.
How could I have been so stupid?